I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and part 2 of an awesome dogfight battle between the LG Optimus 4X HD and the international HTC One X starts right now. Part 2 of an epic dogfight battle continues, and if you didn't watch part 1, go back and have a look at it, but my apologies, I think I'm getting laryngitis, so my voice is a little deeper today than it usually is, so please forgive me for that. But before we get into the LG Optimus 4X HD versus HTC One X battle, international battle at that, between two devices that aren't available in the US, at least in this form. Some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this, US-based devices, of course, for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game on PhoneDog.com. So we turn these devices around and give to you for free. When you walk into Best Buy Mobile, you won't deal with any rebates. You're not going to wait 8 to 10 weeks for paperwork or, there's crazy rebate debit cards that nobody really likes, and you can never quite get down to zero if you're like me. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out without dealing with any sort of rebates, and they'll help you set up everything as well as part of their walkout working program. So back to the devices, the Optimus 4X HD over here, HTC One X International version over here. Both awesome devices. This is LG's kind of re-entry into the high-end smartphone market. They've kind of had some duds over the years with like the Spectrum, with the Nitro HD. Not saying they're bad devices by any means, but there's no real, notable thing about these devices. This was announced at Mobile World Congress, as was this, earlier in the year, and this was kind of intended to be LG's flagship device. It's packing ice cream sandwich. It's packing the latest build of LG's custom user interface. Both of these have 1.5 gigahertz quad-core Tegra 3 processors. They're intended to be fast, and both have HSPA Plus connectivity. I have AT&T SIM cards in both of these devices. If you are in an AT&T area, you will get HSPA Plus, or 4G as they call it. If you're T-Mobile, unfortunately, you're out of luck until they redistrict everything from the AWS band, which is 1700 megahertz, to the 1900 megahertz band for their HSPA Plus services. Once they do that, you'll get HSPA Plus connectivity. But right now, if you're a T-Mobile user, you're out of luck. So let's recap what we stopped at in part 1. So obviously both running Android 4.0, LG's user interface over here, Sense version 4 over here, huge improvement for HTC, big improvement for LG as well. And I just wanted to show you this in part 2 as well. I like the fact that you can edit these shortcuts. One of my favorite things about TouchWiz devices with Samsung, there's little shortcuts up in the top, and LG has that as well, but it takes it to another level with the ability to customize it as you want to do it. So for example, let's say I use Wi-Fi a lot. I can throw Wi-Fi up to the very top. I can make airplane mode the next one. I use NFC, let's say, and sometimes I don't want my data to be enabled. Now you'll see that it customized those exactly how I wanted them. Actually, let me back out of that, forgive me. Now it's customized them how I want them to be. Wi-Fi, airplane, data, NFC, Bluetooth, and then all the other shortcuts up there as well. And then of course, in typical ice cream sandwich fashion, you can get rid of notifications that way. But they're a little bit different. Both have access, quick access at that, to the settings, as you can see here. And you can see, I like this little effect here with HTC, just pointing out some of the transition effects and some of the cool things over here. I like this little accordion effect that they've got going on over here, and I couldn't remember that word in a previous dogfight, so I'm glad that I remembered the word accordion. Accordion is where it's at. When the moon hits the sky like a big pizza pie, that thing, the accordion. You get the idea. Yes, I do sing on dogfight videos. What of it, man? What of it? I'm going to try to load up the browser here. Forgive me, AT&T is not the best in my office. It is a little bit of a dead spot. So I'm going to load up, try to load up PhoneDog over here as well. We're going to try to get these kicked on and running, and we'll do a web browsing test. So again, AT&T service not the best in my office, but you can see pinch to zoom on both of these devices, relatively responsive, even though this one kind of timed out, as you can see over here. Menu button up here at the top on the HTC device. Over here, kind of more of a stock Android look and feel with the tabs up here at the top that you can easily scroll between. That said, you can do the same thing over here on HTC just by clicking tabs, although you'll see, which is kind of cool because you'll see a nice preview. So let's say I'm really focused on the hashtags up the top or whatever, and I go to tabs, it'll give me a nice preview of where I left off. Same thing kind of over here. I can focus in on that, and then it'll show me right where I left off, and I can go back and forth between the respective tabs. Then I get the same shortcuts, although like I said in part 1, the menu button's down here at the bottom. It's a physical hard menu button as opposed to over here where it's a software-based menu button that moves depending on what application you're in. HTC's done a good job of kind of keeping the menu button in the same spot. So you'll see over here, for example, menu up here at the top. And when we go to messaging over here, it's got a little bit of a different look. That leads me into messaging, and we'll take a look and do a test message. All these numbers you see are demo phones that I've been testing back and forth. Now, both of these have 4.7-inch displays, IPS HD display over here, HD 720p over here. This is 720p as well, but you got an LG keyboard and then you have HTC's keyboard. So 2 custom keyboards, and that's all you get out of the gate. Now that said, you can download third-party applications, or keyboards rather, through Google Play. One of my favorites, Jelly Bean keyboard or Ice Cream Sandwich keyboard. Take a look for both of those, and I believe the developers like John T-A-M-I or something like that, John Tammy maybe. And it's a very useful keyboard. I use it on all of my Android devices. That said, LG's made some improvements to their keyboard over here. HTC's done a pretty decent job as well, and you'll see the portrait to transition, or portrait to landscape rather, excuse me, transition effects are relatively zippy on both devices thanks to that quad-core processor. That said, LG's keyboard, much improved over the past, so we'll say the Quick Brown Fox is happy it is hump day. Quick Brown Fox is happy it is hump day. Over here, a little bit harder to type on in my opinion, although it's got the same size display, is happy it is hump day. I find myself typing a little bit faster on the LG keyboard, which is a marked improvement over previous LG devices, the Revolution, the Spectrum, etc., where I had a really hard time with LG's keyboard. So it seems like they made some nice improvements to autocorrect and more this time around. So again, if you're used to an LG keyboard from the past, take a look at this one because it has been improved ever so slightly. And then over here, HTC's keyboard continues to do well. That said, I find in terms of the keyboard it to be a little bit of an edge to the LG. That said, let's go into camera. Both of these have 8 megapixel cameras. HTC, I'm going to spoil it for you, definitely wins this round thanks to a fantastic camera with a lot of different capabilities. So I'm going to bring a third phone in here. Blasphemy, I'm going to bring in this third phone, Motorola Atrix HD, so we can do a camera comparison here. So take a look at the HTC, for example. You've got your settings over here, and then I have this, and this is the coolest feature of this device. We're going to wait for it to focus in, and I'm just going to go. Not only is it a fantastic camera, but I can take this burst mode kind of thing where I can go through here and find my best shot. So let's say shot number 5 is my favorite. I can click best shot. I can delete the rest of the images, and bam, I'm good to go. You can also take pictures while you're recording video, which is nice. So if I flip over to video, I can do the same thing over here. We'll record, which we were recording, my apologies. And then I can just take still pictures as well, and you'll see that they'll appear down here in the bottom right-hand corner. When I'm done recording, I can access all of both my recording and my pictures. Really cool features here, and not just that, but I can go in and change video quality, image adjustments, change the white balance, and more. Now over here, 8 megapixel camera, it's not bad by any means, and take a look here as you can see. Take some pictures. And it's a relatively quick shutter, and then you do have some nice options, some editing options, and some changes that you can make to the pictures. Brightness, focus, image size, scene mode, color effect, geotagging, shutter sound, all that stuff. So I can turn the shutter sound off or change it if I want to. White balance, ISO, scene mode, my focus, and I can flip it, of course, around to the front-facing camera. I just like making faces on the camera and do stuff like that. And I have beauty shot, which makes the facial skin to appear brighter and smoother. Need a lot of that. Can we get a lot of that beauty shot going? That'd be great. But you got a decent camera here. That said, the 1X by far wins in the camera department. It's a fantastic, one of the best cameras I've ever used on a mobile device. It's definitely for me a tie, or somewhere up in a tie between the 1X, the Galaxy S3, and the iPhone 4S in terms of best cameras on a mobile device. So very impressive on those counts. And like I said, you know, if your camera's not that important to you, you take pictures from time to time, it may not be as important of a decision to you, but if camera's your priority, then you can stop watching the Dogfight now because the 1X is by far the winner in that category. Let's take a look here, quadrant standard as well. And then another thing I wanted to point out, you can actually show less icons. This is a cool little personalization thing where you can make the icons larger or you can make them smaller. But again, my beef with LG is the fact that all these cool personalization things, I feel like it's kind of fragmented. They're all around in different parts of the menu within Android. You got to find them. You got to know that they're there. For example, just yesterday morning, or yesterday afternoon rather, I found that icon thing that we talked about in part 1 where you can change the individual icons. Just found that for the first time yesterday evening. So again, because it wasn't in a personalization menu and I just happened to be going through some menu levels, I happened to find it. So that's kind of a minor beef, if you will. I'm trying not to say frustration, because apparently I say frustration in a lot of videos. So I'm going to say beef, and we're going to run the full benchmark. Now, oh, just kidding. We're not going to run the full benchmark. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Now, of course, like I said, AT&T is not great in my office, so hopefully we can get enough of a signal to transmit the scores and kind of get our result. But we will definitely, we'll see here. Call quality has been great on both. I find the call quality to be a little bit better, ever so slightly better on the HTC device, the 1X. I took both of these to an AT&T dead spot in South Charlotte, and This one, actually, I took this one about a week ago, so it's been a while on this one, but I took this one a couple of days ago. Same spot. It's a notorious AT&T dead spot in South Charlotte. But I did find that calls got a little bit choppy all around, but I noticed that I was able to hold the call a little bit better with the 1X. Earpiece appears to be just a little bit louder on the 1X as well. That's not to say the LG isn't good, but if you're in that, that person that lives in that spot where you get 1 bar of service, or it's like my office where it doesn't do so hot when it comes to reception, the 1X is probably going to be the better bet for you. Again, this is kind of a frustration of Android 4.0. Take a look at this random menu button down here at the bottom. Don't really care for that. So let's see if we can get these sent. We're going to try to get these sent. It'll be anybody's guess as to whether they actually send off. Take a look at those fingerprints too. Quadrant standard 4,177 on the Optimus 4X HD and 4,498 on the HTC One X. Now take both of these with a grain of salt. These are both zippy devices, and yes, I just did say zippy on a video. Zippy devices in day-to-day performance, but the One X pulls ever so slightly ahead in the Quadrant standard test. Now both of these devices awesome. Like I say, I say this a lot on videos. These are both awesome devices. You should be happy with either one of these. They're both available, unlocked for about $600 through retailers like Negri Electronics at negrielectronics.com. So about $600 will get you either one of these devices. The winning thing to me about the One X is the fact that you can walk into AT&T and buy it for $199.99. And sure, it may have a dual-core processor as opposed to the quad-core processor, but you're getting LTE connectivity, so at least you can get this subsidized. And to me, I like $199 a lot better than I like $600. But that said, both of these are available for about $600 through third-party retailers. The winner of the dogfight by a narrow margin is the HTC One X. HTC has historically done a fantastic job with Android devices. That continues with the One X. This is a fantastic Android phone, one of HTC's best, if not their best. I prefer the Evo 4G LTE build quality and design, but this is a fantastic smartphone with an incredible camera, and it's an all-around great device. Optimus 4X HD has made some tremendous strides, especially when you look at this in comparison to the Nitro HD and the Spectrum. They've really done some great stuff here with the Optimus 4X HD. It's a huge improvement. If you're an LG fan, you're going to be really happy with this device. They've done a fantastic job making this better than the Revolution, the Spectrum, the Nitro HD. Trying to remember all these product names off the top of my head. But it is a huge improvement, especially with Android 4.0, and the new user interface is definitely nice. That said, the One X is much better all around when it comes to camera, when it comes to battery life, a little bit better over here, getting about 12 hours of battery out of this, getting about 10 over here. I do find that it charges fast, but it also depletes relatively quickly, despite being on HSPA+. One X wins, but I'd love to hear from you, so let me know which one you like more on Twitter at phonedog_Aaron and on Facebook at facebook.com/phonedogab. Also be sure to vote for your favorite phone in PhoneDog's official smartphone rankings. Go over to phonedog.com/rankings, cast your vote, let your voice be heard in an awesome thing that we're doing called the official smartphone rankings. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more dogfights on both of these devices on phonedog.com. We'll see you next time.